Welcome back, football fans, to another episode of BiteSizeVikes right here on the Bite Size Sports Network. I'm your host, John Boyd, joined by my good buddy Josh Limasand, and we've got a pretty fun one, I think, anyway, today that we're going to jump into. This is sort of going to be a partner piece to um, a mock off-season article that I wrote over on Bite Size Sports. Part one is up right now, and that essentially just lays the foundation for kind of how we're going to approach this mock draft. I thought it'd be really fun for Josh and I to do this live, sort of given the parameters that I've hypothetically set for us here with that article. So essentially, what part one entails is, um, there's some ramblings at the beginning to set the stage a little bit, but this just is all the internal moves prior to free agency and the draft. I do have free agency laid out, but obviously I won't be putting part two out until we've also finished the mock draft here, and we have something of a 53-man roster projection we can kind of round that out with. So, um, this will give you the nuts and bolts of who's back, and sort of the holes as they stand. This offseason has the big caveat of does Kirk stay or go? So I'm going to have a version for each of that.
Yep.
If Kirk stays is the first one that's out. So uh, that's what we'll be operating under. It didn't really feel fair to just do one when a wrench could be thrown in my whole think piece in like a
Very
month.
big wrench,
So
yes.
yeah, but before we jump into it, Josh, it's been a little minute, man.
Yeah.
Um, how have you been? How have you come to grips with the end of the season? Are you just ready to mock?
I My optimism takes over as a Vikings fan, and
Yeah.
I'm already going around town saying that we're going to win Super Bowl 59.
Yes.
And
Well, that's
so
correct.
I'm already on Skull to the Bowl train again. I don't know how I've done that already. I guess when you live in the delusional world that I live in, life is
Hmm.
always next year. Next year's finally here. Um, I'm doing pretty well. I've moved on. The Super Bowl was fun to watch, albeit a little bit. There was a lot of mistakes during the football game, which was kind of interesting.
It was a
But
neutral fan's dream, I think.
yeah, but it was good. Yeah, I didn't feel like there was no one that you could scapegoat. I felt good for Jake Moody, the rookie kicker from the Niners. He like that. What a good showing by him to show up. Brock Purdy's proven me wrong for years now. I'm sure I'll find something in the offseason to still say he's not as good as he is, but good on him for for playing decently well. It was good. And
Hmm.
the only other thing I have to say is I need to explain my tagline, Ty Chandler RB1, because in honor of last offseason, I was fully on the whole like, well, he can't pick up the blitz very well. He's just a pass catcher. Like he makes one cut and go. So if he's got a hole, he's great. If he doesn't, he can't. But so I'm fully on the, I would like to get an extra running back in the room. I think we're a little thin at the position, but I figured I'd get on the positive Ty Chandler train this offseason because I was not on the positive train the last offseason. So we're rectifying that tonight.
Okay, so it's not a snarky tagline. This is just an
No,
optimistic
yeah, exactly.
tagline. Okay, I love it. Okay, well, we might as well just kind of lay out, where I've gotten to so far. So, again, this is Kirk back. Um, I said this in the article. He's back on 2 years, 75 new money. Equates to 2 years, 103.5. Um, I added one more void year to push 18.6 into 2026. So this 2024 cap hits 39.1, just under 11 million over what his cap hit would be if he walks, which again is that dead cap hit of 28.5
Right.
million. So that was the first domino to fall. Obviously, I brought back Daniil Hunter because I'm not a dumbass. Um, sorry, I've been on Twitter a lot. Uh, I mocked up a Jefferson extension,
Yep.
um, so everyone can relax. I mocked up um, a Hawkinson restructure, Brian O'Neill restructure, just some things that create a little bit more cap space. Walked into free agency with 44 something million.
Mhm.
And you'll see all the ancillary depth moves, that went along with that exercise. But the main ones I wanted to highlight leading into this mock draft, I didn't go running back in free agency or anything like that. It's just three who I think will be solid defensive starters, whether it's for 1 year or going forward. I did a 4-year deal with Christian Wilkins, 4 years, 80 mil. I think that's pretty reasonable. I also brought in Steven Nelson from Houston, formerly KC. He's been a few other places as well, but pretty good off coverage corner, triggers down and tackles well, veteran in the room. Can play some boundary. I also like Kendall Fuller for that vet role, just with the versatility he brings. That might be something that Flores likes, but both of those guys from a skill set standpoint, I think would be great. And then at linebacker, I think you're either bringing Jordan Hicks back, or you're looking for another early down thumper like an Aziz Al-Shair, but a guy who I ended up going with is Blake Cashman. Also brings a lot of pass rushing chops to the table. Yep. He and Ivan Pace as those nickel backers could give Flores a lot of options with who he drops and who he sends with those pressure looks. So those are the big ones for me. A lot of the other ones that I did were, like I said, ancillary depth type of moves to fill out the roster. Still could be important. But those are the only real starting spots I feel like we shored up with that exercise, and now we can kind of attack the draft. Definitely needing some year one contributors.
Yeah. Well, and I was gonna add on. I love the Steven Nelson one out of those. I mean, Christian Wilkins would be awesome as well.
That might be pie in the sky, but yeah, exactly. Right. I don't think he gets tagged, so we might be in on it.
Yeah, but I love the going after corner because I don't know what it was watching him down the stretch. Like, I'm not giving up on him or anything, but Murphy gets hurt near the end of the season. Caleb was just not at the same level, and it's hard not to think Scene might be a bust at this point. I don't know what the deal is there. So like, Andrew Booth is still very green. Like, we need some secondary help, and Steven Nelson had a great year last year. He was really fun to watch. I didn't watch every Texans game, obviously, but when I did see him, Steven Nelson was playing really well. So I like that one. That's my favorite out of those for sure.
Yeah, and he's played in a lot of different systems as well. I mean, he went right from Lovie Smith to D'Amico this year. Didn't really miss a beat. He's played under Spags. He's done a lot of different. He's been around the block schematically, so I think that versatility again is something Brian Flores is always going to value. So felt like a good fit. There's some other guys who might be a little bit more one trick. Couple guys who we just might be priced out of. Right. So I think a vet there is a good call. And then spoiler, we might look at corner in the draft a little bit because these young guys, I don't know if these young guys are going to develop.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, speaking of who's going to be we're going to be priced out of, where do we think Antoine Winfield Jr.'s price is going to be? I know he's not corner, but that would be a fun story, huh? To get him back in Minnesota.
God, I would love it so much. And he would be, and I've said this too, and it might not be an area you spend a ton, just given like the other needs. But I think if Harry walks, Harrison Smith, that is, if he retires, maybe he takes a pay cut and stays, and this is moot. But I think as many 3 safety looks as we ran, it might not always be what Flores wants to do. It might just be the personnel was better at safety. But if we bring another third safety in to go with Bynum and Metellus, I think he wanted a center fielder like Antoine Winfield, who again has some slot flexibility like his old man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you want a deep center fielder. You can let Cam, either kind of play that robber, or you can run split field safeties, and then Metellus can stay in the slot in the overhang or play weak side linebacker, or all the other crazy stuff that he's asked to do. And I think that would be an amazing fit. And I was really, my pie in the sky, guys, it's between him and Wilkins for me.
Okay.
And my heart leans Antoine Winfield, but heart isn't necessarily a brain all the time. But I would love it, man. That would be so fun. It'd be so fun.
Yeah, I just remember watching his dad when I was younger. Antoine Winfield Sr. and just being so proud every time he made a tackle. The undersized. Yeah. He was like the Allen Iverson of NFL defensive backs. Like
played the only guy today that reminds me of him is Mike Hilton.
Okay,
in
yeah,
Cincy. He's got shades of Winfield Sr. for sure. But I went interior D line. Just I leaned that way a little bit because I think there's a sliver of a chance Harry takes a pay cut and wants to play one more year. Slick the hair back a few more times. But I went with a veteran interior pass rusher up front, and that doesn't preclude us from targeting a Jazon Newton, a Byron Murphy, early on in this draft at all,
right.
Because you've got a dearth of depth behind those guys anyway, and Phillips, like you mentioned, in the doc you sent over to me, 1 year left on his deal, so there's a lot of room to fill that room out. So
right.
I don't think any of the moves I made really preclude us from targeting any of those positions. But for 2024, they might just become less urgent and, give us a few more pathways we can take.
Right.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, like I said, if you've got, if you want any more of the nitty gritty on this thought process, go check out that article on BiteSizeSports.com. Part 2 will be out shortly after this video once we have all the information. So, anything else? Should we jump into it?
Yeah, let's jump into it. I just put the link to the article in the chat again because there's a lot of ins and outs that are worth the read. Like we can sum up, but John, you did a nice job of putting in all the numbers. That's where I stop in the off season. I look at like possibilities, and I know the terms restructure and extend, and obviously and all those things, but I get scared when I look at actual numbers of things, and so it's for anyone that's watching this, I would go check out the article. You get to see the actual math behind it. It's a good read, and it's a good setup for having some fun in the mock draft. So
appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's fun to nerd out, and this is just another part of it.
Oh yeah,
keep nerding out. We can. It's mock season. What is it?
Oh yeah.
1 day after the Super Bowl. This is when you mock, man. This is
that's right. That's right. I suppose that's a good segue to the disclaimer that we're using Pro Football Network's mock draft, and where all these players are available, that stuff is going to change. I'm sure everyone knows that, but keep that in mind. Like, we're drafting as if that where they're ranked is about where they're going to go. I would say, just to to get a practice in in the process of who's going to be available when the Vikes pick, if with or without trades at certain spots. So
yes, and we will try to operate within the confines of more likely reality for sure. You might see we ran a quick demo of this, and Drake May went first overall. There might be a few goofy things like that, but we'll try to keep it pretty realistic to how the Vikings might actually have to approach this draft. So
yes, for sure.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's jump in, and we're sitting at pick 11, as you all know.
Are you sure you don't want to pick all 4 NFC North teams?
Yeah, jeez.
Let's draft. All right. So I paused it already because it moves kind of quick. So let's see if are there any. Do you have any off top? Like for me personally, and this is the same as last year for me, and I don't know if I'm just addicted to this, but unless we're in the top 5, I always feel like moving back is my preferred trade in the first round. But is there anyone on your mind that you would be willing to package to move up, like sell a few future firsts to go get your guy early in this draft? Because we're not super far back at 11. Like we could probably get up there.
Yeah, so I'm thinking quarterback.
Okay.
First and foremost, just because I like Kirk coming back. I do. But I don't want to see him back on good money without establishing a succession plan in this draft. I'd rather Kirk walks and they take a quarterback than Kirk stays and they don't.
Right.
That just seems to make a lot more sense. And you've seen that sitting behind a veteran work historically.
Yep.
Recently, historically, not as much. But Jordan Love's a relatively recent example. Of course, Patrick Mahomes behind Alex Smith. So I really like that
Mhm.
avenue, especially with this Kevin O'Connell offense, because you're going to sit behind a guy who's coming into his third year in this
Yeah.
offensive system. Not just a veteran quarterback, but a guy who
Yep.
thoroughly understands this offense. And Mullins will still be in the building, I'm sure, too, with that new emergency third QB
Yeah.
roster rule.
Yep.
So he'll be pretty involved. I think it's a great situation for
Right.
a
Well,
lot of different quarterbacks, but
and I
I
think
love Jaden Daniels if they're
okay.
moving all the way up.
Well, and I think that regardless of if we draft a guy that sits or if he starts for whatever reason, like one of the models to winning is to have a quarterback, or models to being competitive is to have a quarterback on the rookie deal, even if it's an expensive rookie deal. And even if we do have Kirk play the next 2 years, we might have a guy that's still got 2 years plus the option that's had that time to sit, and that would be a smooth transition. Or about as smooth as transition as you can come by, assuming the guy's progressing in practice like the coaches expect him to, and things like that. So,
yep, exactly right. And in the quarterback cap hit too, then say it's a 2-year extension for Kirk. I did really like guarantees on year 2, just because if he comes back, I think they'll want a relatively easy out if that's what makes most sense in 2025. But if that's the case, then your quarterback cap hit is going down right when you start to see the bigger cap hits from the Jefferson extension.
gotcha.
So I think those would marry very well.
Yes, for sure. All right.
So let's get to New England,
Okay.
and see where we sit, because I think if something weird happens and Marvin Harrison Jr. is picked in the top 3, I think the Cardinals would be a perfect trade up candidate. It's tough
Sure.
though, because the top 3 are probably thinking quarterback.
That's true. Yep.
But I don't know that that's in stone. So that's
All right.
kind of where I'm at as far as the trade up goes. We could
Okay.
explore it at 4 is kind of my
Okay.
thought.
All right. Let's see what the first 3 do, and we'll. Okay, so Malik Neighbors goes at 2.
So and Washington's kind of one that I could see rolling Sam Howell out there for one more year, just because the rest of their roster is so far away.
Yeah.
Just moving on from Montez Sweat and Chase Young. You've got the Hogs in the middle on the defensive side. O-line's got some bright spots. But by and large, it's not a roster that's going to effectively incubate a rookie quarterback, and might stunt his growth a little bit, before the roster's rounded out.
Yeah,
they might bears it.
Right. And as you're looking at the next teams in between the Patriots and us, like Arizona's not going quarterback, the Chargers aren't going quarterback, the Giants aren't going quarterback.
Titans
so
probably aren't.
Titan, yeah,
Falcons might.
The Falcons could, the Bears could. I don't think they should. Who knows what the Jets will do?
Yeah, when the Falcons are the only trade-up team here in a more advantageous position than us. Broncos would have to get past us. Raiders would have to get past us.
Yep.
So let's see. Yeah, let's explore moving up for Daniels here. Just relatively quickly, I mean, it's going to be a Trey Lance deal, but.
Mm-hmm. So we'd have to give up our. Oh, are they not even going to let me do?
Oh, they don't even give us 26.
Yeah, oh, shoot.
Well, you know what I like even better if Kirk comes back is let's see if JJ falls to us here. I think that makes a little more sense anyway.
Do you want to stop and be in between it all again, or should we let it run all the way to 11?
Let's stop at Atlanta.
Stop at Atlanta. Okay.
Maybe we've got to move up a little bit, or at Tennessee. I'm sorry, we might have to jump Atlanta.
Okay. Harrison went. Oh shoot! I stopped before.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, just see if they take him. I feel like they won't down here anyway, and They might not in real life either.
Oh, they did. They took.
Oh, I didn't even realize he hadn't gone yet. I was waiting for JJ McCarthy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm a
Nice.
dumbass. No, yeah, we're good. We're good. So, in reality, if Jaden Daniels was still on the board, I think you're on the phone with Tennessee.
Yeah, for sure.
Just blowing them up for sure. But
I can't imagine Arizona. I mean, I know this is all simulation, but imagine the Chargers getting Harrison at 5 to go with.
Right.
That's nuts.
So I'm comfortable. I think what we should try and do. I'm comfortable taking JJ right here. I think we'll have to.
Okay.
In real life. Dave and I over on Minnesota Sports Talk actually just interviewed Thor Nystrom, who's a college football analyst and Fantasy Pros podcast, and he's one of the guys kind of ringing the bell for McCarthy, and I think I'm pretty sold on him as well, particularly in this system, and particularly at his age. Talk about he just turned 21 on January 25th. So perfect candidate to sit behind a vet for a couple years. And he played in a pretty pro style system. Yeah.
And there's still some decision making things that are kind of some knocks on him that I think would be easily rectified with, especially if he gets to sit a year or two under Kirk and learning the offense that way. Can I tempt you with Kool-Aid McKinstry?
Oh man, dude, maybe who I really like too is Quinion Mitchell and Nate Wiggins.
Okay,
it's a confusing group. A lot of people have those guys ranked differently.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, let's slam JJ. JJ.
You want me to pause after that, or should we let it ride for a little bit? Do we not have a second?
Let it ride after that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have a third.
The JJ to the JJ connection is something.
JJ to JJ, I mean, that writes itself.
That's right.
Brock Bowers, Roma Dunes.
Brock Bowers went to the Broncos. Okay.
Ravens trade up for J.C. Latham.
There's your Quinion Mitchell's at 22.
Yep.
It's funny because Bo Nix went here at 26 to the Bucks. One of those mocks I showed you, I traded back for a whole bunch of extra picks, and we were able to take Bo Nix at 26, and then one of his offensive tackle, or no, it's his center, Jackson Powers Johnson, this guy over here.
Oh, that kid's ridiculous.
And I was wouldn't that be fun to get the signal caller and the center from Oregon, and get them right in there, but we'll see, because there's already some chatter that Bo Nix is going to be way earlier in the first round, and I don't know how much truth there is to that, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we could see 6 QBs go. It's also apparently it's a crazy loaded offensive tackle class.
Yeah. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 already in 6 offensive tackles already.
Most ever taken in the first round is 7.
Jeez. All right, I'm gonna go through 32 and we'll see what the first round looks like. Jordan Morgan is a tackle I like.
Yeah, there goes Jerzon Newton, A.D. Mitchell. So my thought here is to get at least one more day 2 pick, one way or the other, and get another swing on a guy who you feel like can contribute day 1. I want 2, maybe 2 second rounders. Maybe we trade up for another second rounder somehow, or grab a third somehow. Without having done so in a trade down, it's a little tough.
Right.
But I think that's one way to do it here.
So if we let it ride, the simulation will probably offer us some trades when we get to 42. Do we want to try to package to move up ahead of 42, or are you content getting an extra second round and trading down a little bit?
And we might think about a trade down at 42 as well.
If we get an offer. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's see how the early second round goes. I've been seeing Penix go about at 42.
Damn it, dude. I was just about to say I kind of like TJ Tampa if he falls.
Oh, and Kalen King would be nice from Penn State as well. Okay, here's our first. We have 2 offers.
Okay.
59 and 86. I don't like that a ton, especially for this exercise, the 2025 fourth. But if we don't have anything until 108, the 86 pick could be nice. That would solve that. Ooh.
Quasi special.
And then we can listen to all Vikings fans complain about who the Lions take at 42, because naturally it's going to be someone amazing while we take our. I mean, I don't mind that, because 62 is still or 61 is still in the second round. 73 is pretty soon after.
Mm-hmm.
Either of those do anything for you?
59, 86, future fourth. Let's do the Lions one, dude. That's
okay.
That's
what my gut's telling me too. All right, so the Lions take with our 42nd. They get Cameron Kinchins. So there's Tyler Newman going to the Raiders.
Bust. Kinchins
bust.
Certified.
Jackson Powers Johnson to the Steelers. Kalen Bullock, I've looked at a little bit. He looks pretty decent. Oh, the Seahawks.
Trading up one? No, that's fine.
No, we don't
what
need
else
to do
we
that.
got?
Detroit. Detroit's desperate.
Dude, they can't help themselves.
I think we're rejecting both of these, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hang up on them.
Oops. Pause. Oh, I don't need to pause. We're picking next. Okay. Let's see. So
is that Braylon Trice?
Braylon Trice is there from Washington. Yep.
Led the nation in total pressures this year with 83.
Nice. I do like the edge discussion. I'm right there with you on extending Danielle Hunter. You put it well in the article. He's like just a tier below like the top tier edge rushers, and you have to have quality edge rushers. Wanham looked good, and then he got hurt. Like, we also need depth at that position. We don't know if anything's going to happen with Davenport. I doubt it. And so it would be nice to bring in a young edge rusher.
Davenport, by the way, too, carries a $6.8 million dead cap hit.
Yep.
It's not re-signed.
Yep. I looked a little bit at McKinley Jackson. I just, the running game, you've heard me talk about it ad nauseum. I won't go into it too much right now, but it's in the past happy days of the NFL right now. All the teams that were left at the end had really good running games. And so I think stopping the run is important. And we were good at it last year for a large portion of the year, but I like bolstering that. But the nice thing about the trade we just made is we have 61 here and then 73. Because there's a guy.
The Philly game, it was a pretty good run defense.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's the other guy I want to mention, because I just found him tonight, James Williams. Have you heard of his name?
Miami?
Yeah. He's 6'5". Did you know that? He's 6'5".
Yeah.
You were talking
Flores
earlier
about
goofy
shit with him.
Oh yeah, you were talking earlier about Antoine Winfield Jr. or someone else playing a little bit more of the free safety ball hawking role in the back. Imagine having a 6'5" guy that can also destroy people. Like, I don't want to reach on him because he's 88th here technically, but I mean that's a super tempting play. And then
he's a guy too who could play some hybrid linebacker on late downs. You get his length over the middle.
Yeah.
Get the Tremaine Edmonds effect. Not that he was particularly effective, but he's big.
Yeah, I'd like to see how he is on. I haven't watched enough, really, any film on him. I just kind of looked at him initially, but I'd like to see how he does against big tight ends. That would be something that would really sell me on him. Because if at that height, you think he could compete.
Seems like a tight end eraser archetype.
Yes, for sure.
I think we go Braylon Trice here. I think.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
You need depth there. You need youth there. He's got pretty good size. He could probably kick inside on passing downs if you need him to or want him to.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Braylon Trice, welcome to the squad.
I think that's a good spot to get him at too.
For sure.
Oh, Chiefs Jatavian Sanders would be scary. That's so classic.
Are you anywhere near any of these running? Oh, McKinley Jackson went right before, so you don't have to worry about me trying to make a random case for him. All right, Tennessee, we don't want your 2025 second.
Nope, doesn't help us until my next year article.
Yep, we for sure don't want that one then. Well,
No.
I guess. I mean, no, yeah. The picks, the future picks, don't really help us right now when we're trying to. All right, you guys are. Let's see. So we have. Have you? I was just going to ask you before that. I really haven't looked a ton at running back. I was mentioning it to you, before we went on, and obviously I'm Ty Chandler RB1. I'd like to add some of the committee. I've heard some good things about Will Shipley. I haven't watched. He's ranked 80 down here. I haven't watched too much. I don't really want to spend too high of a pick on a running back.
No, I've heard good things about that Braylon Allen kid too, but by and large, it sounds like this is a pretty weak running back class.
Okay. So definitely don't want to reach. All right. While we, if anyone just popped in, we took JJ McCarthy 11th overall and Braylon Trice with our 61 after making a trade with Detroit. Yes, we traded in division again, but it's going to work this time. Don't worry.
It'll work. No, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind. That's the Georgia center there?
Yep.
I wouldn't mind going interior offensive line. I think, right, whether it's Reisner or another plug and play veteran guard, I still don't think there's a long-term answer along the interior.
No. Well, and I feel like good offensive linemen are kind of interchangeable at position. If we feel like Bradbury still got it, then we just need help because Ed Ingram falls back again or something. Like, I'm sure a high-rated center will be able to slide over and play one of the guard roles. I was looking at the Wisconsin kid who's still another 30-40 picks from here. Tanner Bartolini or something.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look like he was the best center ever or anything, but just did the basics, right? Like, you get a block, notice that guy's already blocked, and then you see him bounce off and take another guy on instead of getting stuck on the one assignment. Just that versatility is so huge. And we've witnessed a lot of interior pressure over the past couple of years. So I'm not opposed to any sort of interior offensive line, and this looks like a good spot.
Yeah, you want to check on the corners real quick while we're here?
Sure. We have, let's see, Chris Abrams-Drain is the highest at 87.
Oh, wow.
I don't see any other names that I recognize, but then again, it's been Josh Newton, TCU, Mike Sanders, still Michigan, Johnny Dixon, Penn State.
Yeah, not a ton.
Tommy Eichenberg.
I like that. I like that Oregon kid, Kyrie Jackson. He's got some safety versatility.
Mm-hmm.
Little rich here for him. Yeah, let's do Van Pran, dude. I think.
Yeah. Well, and we have our next pick at 108, so we should easily be able to get one of those corners. But yeah, let's take a NFL production factory center, Cedric Van Pran.
Yep, and then I think probably corner here.
Yeah. Seattle took another running back. If only this were real life, all of the storylines.
Oh, dude, Seattle.
Oh, James Williams went to the Browns. That would be nasty. That defense was.
Dude, him and JOK
unbelievable.
Just doing everything.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Might as well get him Isaiah Simmons too.
Yeah, seriously.
All those guys.
Another quarterback went. State kid. All right, so at 108, and we have the 129.
Oh, Blake Corum.
And Roman Wilson. We got the Michigan connection. We could get JJ his So yeah, I don't feel like it's a reach. If you like Kyrie Jackson there, I don't think that's too much of a reach because again, this is all
No,
going to change, and I think corner depth is super important.
yeah, let's go Kyrie. I think I like him the best out of this bunch, at least preliminarily.
Sounds good.
Again, all these guys. So I've got my 2023 college all 22 for a lot of teams. I've got Michigan offense and defense I'm going to watch. I've got some other various teams, but a lot of where we're at right now, I haven't watched. This is just Josh and I kind of just reading whatever blurbs we can, and
and just looking at positions of need, knowing that trying to figure out who's going to be available, and again, how that will change. But
yeah, especially once we get to day 2 and 3 here, just bear with us on just try to see the vision. We don't know these guys individually yet.
Exactly.
For sure. Just try and see the vision.
I watched a little Michael Pratt highlight reel in one of my mocks earlier because I didn't take a quarterback super high. And I think he was throwing to a receiver that's I forget the guy's name, but a receiver that's going to be taken higher up than this, I think. But
yeah, Thor likes him, and he's the guy I've spoken to most recently who's actually watched these guys. There's a swirling Michael Pratt versus Spencer Rattler debate on Twitter that I've seen a few times. I don't know why. But that's the point of contention. These day 2 quarterbacks.
If we're looking at what
Jermaine Burton is interesting. Let's look at receiver here because this receiver class is so deep.
Yeah. I am on board with a receiver. One of my mocks I took for pedigree's sake. Look at who's down here. Luke McCaffrey.
Oh, there we go.
Rice. And I've seen him make some really nasty, like contested in traffic catches. Imagine him as our third guy after Addison and Jefferson, I feel.
Well, he came out as a quarterback, and then he kind of fell into his lineage a little bit. We could also take Jerry Rice's kid.
Oh, this is Jerry Rice's. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who was closer up to where we are rank wise here?
Does it let you sort by position, or is it just offense defense? Does it let you
Oh yeah, it does. There we go. Perfect.
Nice.
Good call.
Okay.
Good call. Oh, here's the guy that Michael Pratt throws to. I guess he's not super highly ranked. Jaquan Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I don't know. The only guys I know about are Burton and Rice, and I've seen the USC kid or the other USC kid.
Yeah. If you look at our picks over here, we have a QB, edge, center, and corner. Do you have any interest in a D tackle here? Is it worth looking at that, or are we feeling good about one of the receiver in this range? We have a number of picks coming up still. We're at 129, and we have 155, 165, 178. So after this is a little bit of a jump, and then we could get pretty much whoever. So looks like John's having a little technical issues. If you have anything you're thinking about Vikings wise, go ahead and throw it in the chat. If you have any positions of need. And like John mentioned, we've had, it's still super early in the process. I haven't really been able to dive into too many guys on their in-depth film. So I'm kind of looking at positions of need as well. And I do think, like John was mentioning earlier, I think quarterback is going to be the big discussion, obviously for the Vikings. So I think that, there's a bunch of different scenarios where we take a quarterback earlier or later. So
yeah, let's fill out. Yeah, let's grab either Rice or what's his nuts? The other kid. What was the other receiver we were just looking at? Jermaine Burton.
Burton?
Yeah, one of those two, I figure.
Who's taller? Burton's 6 foot.
Rice is a kind of a 6'2", 6'3" kind of guy, I think.
Okay. I'm partial to that. I kind
Yeah.
of secretly wanted the Vikings to take Cedric Tillman last year.
You know who I secretly would want them to take upon trade back this year is Brian Thomas, LSU.
Oh, okay. Nice. All right, we took Rice. So we still get the pedigree.
Yes, and that's most of what counts.
And Burton went significantly further back. And Jacob Cowing, who was ahead of that whole group, went after. So, okay. Yeah, and the nice thing about our next 3 picks here is we're not going to have to really worry about order. We're going to have to look at, a lot of spots to look at.
I think you try to grab another camp competition running back who maybe, you never know.
Yep.
I think you look at probably some more defensive line depth, maybe a linebacker if you like one. It's kind of where I'm at with these day 3s.
Can't remember who I was looking for, but these aren't the names at linebacker that I noticed. Xavier Thomas will get later.
Oh, is that Mo Camara?
Yep.
Slam it.
All right.
Slam it. He was second in the nation in pressures.
Okay. All right.
And he was top 20 in pressure rate, or excuse me, pass rush win rate.
Nice.
And you got to imagine there's 240 starting edges in college or whatever it is.
Yep. Oh, here's speaking of slamming, this trade gets us an extra pick in this draft, and all we have to do is drop down 1.
Yeah, go for it.
Do we take it? All right.
They won't take our guy, will they?
Devonshire?
Nice.
Okay. Nice.
Wait, did we take Mo Camara already?
Yeah. We took
good. Okay, nice. Yeah, we'll take that. I've seen Keith Randolph before. I wonder if he was he might have been one of those guys who was like projected highly for, like last year for this class or something. That name seems very familiar.
Couple Maryland cornerbacks in here. The ones that I feel
is
like
anybody maybe somebody really big? Maybe just a big ass guy if we've got like a nose tackle.
I want to know. Oh, here we go. Well, Randolph 6'5", 304.
Not bad.
That's not bad. These other guys are all TBD. That's how early this mock draft is.
It's tough.
I don't even know how big these people are.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll just want a big body in the middle at some point, and maybe that's earlier.
Well, let's take your Randolph guy because he's ranking wise, he's good value and he's huge, and I like the Big Ten connection. I kind of wanted Tommy Eichenberg earlier a little bit. Like I was.
He's fun.
Be a fun linebacker, plug and play, perhaps.
There's big bros in the league too.
Yep. Is he an offensive lineman, right? Liam Eichenberg?
Yep.
All right. Nice. All right, so I'm going to take Randolph here.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we can stop the run, which is important. We still have Jaqueline Roy from last year, who I think he's still a guy that could do something.
I think he'll be all right. Yeah. What the small sample size we saw of him, I was relatively happy with. But he wasn't beating out Jonathan Bullard, so
right. Yeah,
but Bullard was good. Bullard was.
I was just gonna say it's because Bullard played a really good year, and Harrison Phillips was solid, so that makes sense. I don't feel bad about that either. All right, let's see. We've taken 2 edge, which I like. We have 1 interior offensive line, a corner, a D tackle, a receiver, and our quarterback. Is there? I mean, you can see some of the names here, but is there a position that you wanted? Because we are down to our last 2 picks, and the last one is like one of the last picks of the draft. Do you have a position in mind? I was hoping for a safety at some point. I don't know if it matters at this point in the draft, though.
I'm wondering if Kyrie Jackson ends up projecting as a safety more anyway.
Right. It's kind of one of the because all defensive backs are playing all over the place these days.
Everyone's just a DB, if it's Flores, right?
Right.
I'm thinking I'm thinking linebacker or yeah, it's we're probably looking second or third level of the defense,
Okay.
in my opinion.
All right. So let's
And
see
I'm
what we
pretty
have.
agnostic to the names here.
Yeah, fair enough. So I think we just take the highest rated. We'll take this Maris Luiafu from Notre Dame.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the winner for now. All right. Who do we take at the end?
Yeah, let's see if any of these. Let's wait till next season, see if any of these random guys we take at the end up any good.
There's always gonna be some.
Oh, Joe Milton's still there. 6'5", 245, just a cannon.
Could
Still
be
kind
take
of sucks.
Brevin span forward in case TJ's got to
if he's
miss a
there,
few weeks.
if he's there, slam it. Ski ma. Uh-oh.
Oh shoot. It was kind of close. Oh, he goes to Dallas.
Do we have any other Gophers left? Howden and Newman are off the board, aren't they?
Yeah, Newman went second round, I think.
That's
we're
good.
gonna have to. Yeah, good for him for sure. If we want him, we're gonna have to. All right, here we are at 232. There's not many picks left.
No Gophers available.
I am.
I've always wanted the Vikings to just take more Gophers.
Do you remember? This is kind of an obscure reference. Do you remember when the Timberwolves drafted Rick Rickard? Do you remember Rick Rickard?
No, I don't.
Okay,
No,
never mind. He was the 7-footer that played for the Gophers, and it was kind of questionable whether he was going to have an NBA career. And of course, we took him, and I thought that there was kind of like a Minnesota bias there, but he wasn't. He was a good player, obviously. But all right, we're pretty low down here. We don't have any more Minnesota guys, so that ship has sailed. We had South Alabama kicker though.
Ooh.
If
we do need competition for Greg Joseph.
Yes, he had a good year last year.
Dude,
but
yeah, check out the kickers. Let's take a kicker.
I mean, Jake Moody just showed out pretty well. The highest one is I skipped one. Joshua Carty from Stanford.
Yeah, they just took him in. They took him in the third because all they had was a bunch of comp picks.
Yeah.
I
mean, Will Reichard, he's been in big games for Alabama. I mean, that's not not a small. That's not a. What am I trying to say? That's not nothing, right? To have played at the biggest level of college and know what that's like. So
he might have experienced the most pressure to this point of any kicker in the draft.
Right.
Yeah, slam it. Let's go.
Slam it. Here we go. All right.
Light a fire under Joseph a little bit.
That's right.
I like it.
All right, we are waiting. It's waiting for to sim the last few picks, and then it'll give us a little recap so we can see what the perfect draft is.
Yeah.
It's the exact same in April when they draft.
Yeah.
We heard it here first on BiteSizeVikes.
This is what is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's tough, dude. You feel really pigeonholed.
Right.
At 11. 11 is so weird because with the four, I think there's 4 quarterbacks with whom I wouldn't be dismayed if they took them. I wouldn't like Nix or Penix. I don't think I think you'd have to overdraft those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not sure that McCarthy would be an overdraft here because especially being a 21-year-old rookie, coming off a natty, playing for an NFL coach.
Yep.
I think those are good bets. This is not a bad.
No, I was just gonna say right off the bat, I love the amount of picks, and I think we hit all the major ones. I think if my wish list would have had a safety and maybe another offensive lineman, but that's just because I want offensive linemen for days. But
yeah, Mo Kamara could have like a Yaya Diaby type of like late round edge rusher impact.
For sure.
I think he ended up getting like 3, maybe it was only 1. I think he got at least 1 first place rookie of the year vote.
Okay.
Yeah, Diaby.
He only got
Random.
one.
Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he made some noise. I think he only started like 7 games, but it was like top 3 in sacks for rookies. Pretty good production. And Mo Camara, like I said, is a small school guy. Diaby was Louisville, but smaller school guy, who's just had crazy production. Against.
Yep.
Some might not be a ton to be said about the competition, but
yeah,
nothing to sneeze at.
No, and I think especially with the guys that don't go in the first couple rounds, I think size plays a really big, like if you're a little undersized, that kills your draft stock. Because sometimes it's true, and but yeah, Ivan Pace is a perfect example. Like if you do everything else right, you still have a spot in the NFL. I mean, we've all seen Ivan Pace get sucked up into the into the blocking and not being on a play because of his size to an extent, but he was a huge net positive for this team, and we got him. We didn't have to draft him somehow.
Yeah, he might not look like a duck, but he quacks like one.
All right, well, mark it here, folks. The JJ to JJ connection begins. Maybe not this upcoming year, but it's on the horizon, because if we extend JJ and give Kirk one more year, the JJ to JJ connection will have to carry the dynasty after the Kirk Super Bowl next year.
Yes, exactly.
It's just,
then he'll ride right off into the sunset.
That's right. He'll become
imagine the dance he would do at the ESPYs if they won.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's gonna be some, when he retires, he's not gonna be a coach. He's gonna be some special advisor, like teams do sometimes. He's just gonna be like, he's gonna have his own role. He's gonna be Kirk Cousins. He's gonna be around the team doing something.
Paid an undisclosed amount of money.
Right.
Well, that was fun, man.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to getting this into part 2 of the article. I've already started on that, like I mentioned, and this will round out all of the external moves, and I think this will leave us with a pretty solid roster, frankly.
Yeah.
As far as depth on the edge, Patrick Jones will still be in the building. I've teetered a little bit on bringing Wanham back or not. I feel like he might be able to go get more money than we'd like to give him somewhere else.
Yeah.
And same thing with like Reisner, and there's a few that I'm not all the way one way or the other on yet, so I'll work through those. But one way or the other, they're all kind of stopgap.
Yeah.
Signings for the most
part. For sure. And I think obviously the mocks will change as we get closer to the season, and the Vikings may or may not draft any of these guys that we took. But the idea that look at the teams that are constantly in the running. They have players that they've drafted well and coached up. The Lions surged because their recent draft classes have been really great. The Chiefs draft classes have been great. Offensive line, key defensive spots, and so you can really catapult your team up from a good draft. And so we haven't had a really knockout draft recent memory. We've had some good players that were drafted, but not a top to bottom one. So hopefully that's on the horizon in a couple months.
At the minimum, you've just got to get contributors on day 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And this one's weird too, because like I said, I don't want to. This is a very competitive rebuild draft.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You want to get the quarterback of the future. You want to get some early contributors. But I'm just kind of, I think you can take a little solace in the fact that we didn't have to trade the farm to get a guy who could very well be quarterback of the future.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it seems like all or nothing for, getting your guy in the draft. But ultimately, I just want some decisiveness from the front office. Like I want to feel like they've identified their guy.
Yep.
I want to feel their confidence in it. Yep. And then I'll just trust them for the whole. It's not going to ruin my summer if I don't like the guy.
Right.
I'm just going to trust him until we see him on the field and trust that
Yep.
O'Connell saw what he wanted to.
Yep. Or if we see a defensive guy that seems like an awkward pick or too high or something, but Flores is like, this is my guy, then
yeah,
I'll take his word for it. That's for sure.
Exactly. Well, Josh, this was a blast, brother.
Yeah, let's do it again.
If you want any more of this conjecture, you can go check out that link to part 1 of the article. Part 2 will be out soon, like I mentioned, up on BiteSizeSports.com. Josh and I will be back into the swing of podcasting regularly, hopefully pretty soon. Probably around the time you start seeing some of these moves come to fruition. Once I think, at the very least, by the time free agency opens, we'll get an episode back out, and then over the course of the off season, it might be a little sporadic, but we will as well on this channel be, Josh and I will do one too. Be doing a bit of a future outlook for some teams across the league. We've got some correspondence for other teams that I'll be working with to do, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes on, get more a small version of this really.
Right.
Where hey, how, can they create much cap space? What kind of cap situation are they in? Are they going to be able to sign any big free agents? Who do they need to prioritize retaining? How does their future look compared to the real contenders? And what can they do in the future to create or sustain the success that they have, depending on the team. So, we've definitely got Seahawks, we've got Packers, Vikings, Titans, Colts, Steelers, Eagles, potentially others on the channel that'll be rolling out here, leading up to free agency. A little bit less, like prediction kind of stuff, more just kind of an overview. But I think those will be a lot of fun as well, just to kind of give you the zoomed out version of, and give you some of these decisions that the real GMs might actually be contemplating right now. So those will be fun. But other than that, go check out Minnesota Sports Talk. Dave and I just interviewed Thor Nystrom for about an hour, and he talked about all these quarterback prospects. So if you want to hear a little bit more backup on on my conviction for JJ McCarthy, you can go listen to that. Somebody who's much more qualified to talk about JJ McCarthy. So, but Josh, in the meantime, where can they find you and your work?
I've been doing a lot more for Bite Size Sports. I wrote a Super Bowl preview and playoff rankings and things like that. So I'll be around there. MikeOnTheVikes.com is my, where I get to be a fan and write, and I just, use my heart more than my head a lot of the time. So you can go there to make fun of me for my my hot takes. Otherwise, I'll look forward to being back on here as we start the bowl Super Bowl 59.
Yes, sir. I'll have to ask my wife to fill out the wall with some more of these.
Oh yeah,
these
yeah,
here.
that's sick.
Get ready for next year, man. But
oh yeah.
But yeah, well, thanks, especially if you tuned in this long. But if you check this out at all, really appreciate it. We have a blast doing this kind of stuff. So if anybody takes any sort of interest in it, that is just a bonus. So
much appreciated.
Josh and I and others right here on the Bite Size Sports Network. We do have at least 4 live shows on the network during the week, talking NBA, NFL, fighting. On Monday nights, there's the Carnage Unleashed. And you can check out our colleagues across the network doing all kinds of stuff. But outside of that, this has been BiteSizeVikes. I'm John. That's Josh. And we'll see you soon. Check out the article. Thanks,
Later.
guys.